following show is for comedy only and is purely for the sake of entertainment. The stories, characters, and people affiliated with this show talk about hypothetical situations for laughs. Listener discretion advised.
San Quentin, what good do you think you do? Do you think I'll be different when you're through? You bend my heart and mind and you warp my soul. Your stone walls turn my blood a little cold. San Quentin, may you rot and burn in hell.
What's going on, man?
Make it in. Very cool. I want to mess with your audio settings, River.
All right, am I in?
Yeah,
you're in.
How are you, dude?
Hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I hear you again.
Yeah. What's going on, man?
Oh, fucking wow, right?
On my camera.
The iPhone.
Yeah, sorry about all that technical shit beforehand.
It's no problem. It's just that's what it is. It's like for some reason with Zoom and the iPhone, it doesn't work that great.
Yeah.
But you know, I got my laptop and I had to find the charger. And I got my kids here, so everything in the house kind of disappears.
Oh yeah. Well, hey, listen. So, I was talking to Cato and he sent me a couple pictures and he said, "Hey, look, I made it on a documentary." And I was like, "Oh shit." And I said I should probably check that out because we talk about it over cigars every now and again about his time over there, and I checked it out. The volunteers.
I mean, at the time, I specifically told River the few times that we saw each other in the field, I'd be like, I mean, I'm sure you got me on camera right now, but don't put me on anything.
Yeah,
and you respected it. That's great.
I tried as much as possible. I think you sneaked into a couple shots.
No, I did, and I hunted those down too, and I was super excited that I was in it at all.
Oh, good. Because you're you know like you're.
I'm not a tourist, and then a few years later, I'm like, fuck, I wish I had more photos of myself.
yeah, except for the last day.
Yeah.
So the volunteers, man, tell me about that process. What made you decide to? I mean, do what Cato did a little bit and just decide I'm going to go to Syria and I'm going to join up with the Kurds and I'm going to, well, you wanted to document, but you did a little bit more than that about what was happening against ISIS.
Yeah. Well, you know, for me, I'm a veteran. I was in the Navy. I was deployed to Iraq pre the Iraq invasion the second time. And, you know, we pretty much tore that country down. And I think being in the Navy and floating around out there and bombing them, it really just I really wanted to see what was going on there. So when I got out of the Navy, I got an opportunity to start doing tactical training. And I started doing this hyper realistic battle training for dudes that were headed over doing workups. And I met a dude that was like, "Oh, I'm going to go over there. I'm filming a doc." I was like, "Really? Can you take me?" He was like, "Yeah." So that's kind of like how I ended up getting into TV and film, actually. And so I spent 7 months there in Fallujah in 2005 with 3rd Recon, and I was with the 1st Platoon and 3rd Platoon primarily. And you know, I was prior Navy, so they, you know, Doc already liked me, and the rest of the dudes thought it was pretty funny. You know, I was out there slinging a camera around, so it gave me a really different perspective of the Middle East. But it was really through the U.S. military looking glass, you know, and as I was there in Iraq in 2005, you know, my job was to kind of bring you the hearts and minds of our troops. You know, it's kind of a Department of Defense organized, you know, media project. And at that time, they were putting a lot of dudes like me into. So when I saw the rise of ISIS as we, you know, ubiquitously pulled out of Iraq and left this really big power vacuum from the destabilization that we had already done, looking for weapons of mass destruction that didn't exist, I felt really culpable. You know, I had participated in the Navy, and I also participated in the media by, you know, the projects that I was working on that didn't necessarily actually tell the American people what was really happening, you know, and like what I was seeing with our dudes there that I was with, and the frustration of being in that place and driving around and getting blown up, and the rules of engagement are just awful. But yet in reality, we shouldn't even be there. And there's kind of like this vibe. We kind of knew there isn't going to be any weapons destruction found,
Yeah.
all the top brass and Saddam, and like, so there is, just for me, like coming home, and then I went to Afghanistan. I got to film another project in Afghanistan called The Fighting Season. And they hired me. They were like, we want you to go get shot at, but not get shot. I was like, I'm your man.
Excellent. That
How much that
sounds
pay?
wonderul.
That job paid excellent. Yeah, the Iraq job, actually, I didn't get paid much, but it was okay. I think that the troops made more than I did, but just the opportunity to get to go. I love this country, and I love our troops, and I think that like our veterans and our active duty, they're the best kind of people, because they're willing to give of themselves regardless of political influence or belief. They sign on a line that is there to protect our beliefs and our freedoms that they don't get themselves, right? And so there's a lot of nobility in our military, from the people that you see in our military. And so I think a lot of us kind of felt pretty upset about what was happening in Iraq, how Obama pulled out. And I think a lot of us are upset about what we're doing in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
And Afghanistan failed because we didn't put money in. It's like we let the Taliban just have it, because we didn't invest in Afghanistan. So for me, as an American that believes in the idea of democracy, that believes in the idea of this amazing experiment, seeing ISIS, knowing that I had participated in my own ways, I just felt overwhelmingly compelled that I needed to go use whatever skill set I had towards making it right. And the Kurds are setting up a democracy. They're strong for feminism. They're strong for religious freedom. The democracy that they're setting up is all about states' rights. It's almost, there's a lot of Republican values in it, and I'm not necessarily a Republican or a Democrat, but just seeing that and thinking, look, if we can invest in peace, if we can invest in this democracy where people have freedom, maybe there could be peace to come through the Middle East. And in 1918, when the Middle East was divided as we know it through the Sykes-Picot Agreement, they what they did is they would put a majority of one ethnicity in a country and a minority, and then the next country they would flip it so that the majority is the minority in that other country, but the majority in this country. And so when you have Iraq and Syria and Turkey, and you have Kurdistan, you have all these ethnicities that are all put together. So our perspective in the West, our Orientalist racist perspective, is that the Middle East is all Muslim. And in reality, there's so many different religions. There's so many different kinds of people, from Jews that have mostly been run out of Syria, Christians that have mostly been run out of Syria, but Alawite and Yazidi, and there's so many different the mystics. And so just thinking about how I could use myself towards fixing all that shit that I participated in my little bit. And so that's how I was like, I'm going to go with my camera. But I didn't have connections, to really get there. I didn't have the money. And so, that's where the Epigay came in, because they were willing to let me come in as a fighter. So I said, yeah, I'll come in as a fighter, and I'll come in as a Protestant, and I'll stay for 6 months. I wasn't expecting that, because somebody had told me something different.
Yeah.
You know how it goes.
Oh yeah, I
the
saw
way-
it. I definitely saw it in the documentary.
Yeah, what path did you take to get in there? Because I know
I took the wrong way. I used frequent flyer miles, and so I guess American Airlines doesn't fly into Sully, so I flew into Erbil, and they seized my drone in the airport. So then I ended up spending a couple days in Erbil trying to get my drone back, and they weren't going to get it back for sure. And I ended up in Barzani's office, and they're like, write Barzani a letter and tell him why you need this drone back. And I'm literally sitting in his office, like, Iraqi Kurdistan, dude. It's not like here, man. You just no idea how it's big, but it's really small. Like, you could just all of a sudden be sitting in the president's office, and they're like, handwrite a note. Well, I graduated high school, man.
Yeah.
I haven't handwritten anything in years,
Yeah.
dude. So I'm like, oh man,
Well,
I know. Anyway,
I don't know the actual.
I
I'm sorry, I don't know
ended
the
up-
actual path. And
yeah, go
who
ahead.
did you get in contact with to?
Oh, my friend Jake Simkin was already over, and he had come over with Brennan Phillips, and
Oh.
I met Brennan over in Kentucky when we were first thinking about going, and he was the first person to talk to me about the medical unit, which is why I got a Unit 1 pack. And then him and Macer set up the whole IFAC thing, and so I as I was coming into Syria, I knew this project was happening, but I didn't have the right phone number. And so I flew into Erbil on one-way frequent flyer ticket. I didn't have enough to get back, and I can't get in touch with anybody. And they took my drone, and I'm thinking, fuck. Yeah, fuck. It was like 3 really bad days. But my friend Jake Simkin, he's a journalist from Australia. He was over in Rojava, and he had the phone number, dude. And I had given him a sat phone from Ricky, because Ricky Schroeder was a big part in helping us fund and get initially off the ground with this thing. And so I had given him one of Ricky's sat phones, and so I was able to get in touch with him. I'm like, dude, I'm stuck here. What the hell am I gonna do? And he was like, oh, mate, I got a number for you. Just call him and say, oh, Jake said call him, da da da. And I called the dude up, and he's like, who's this? And I'm like, yeah, da da da. And he's like, who? So I hung up on him. I told him I was going to meet him on Friday, and I hung up on him, because the first rule of dealing with smugglers is hang up before they say no. Because anytime somebody says no to you, it's really hard to get them to overcome it, right? So I took a joint taxi to Sully, and I met the I'm not going to say his name, I guess, because I don't really
Got
know. I
the
don't
safe
wanna-
house where they're
Anyway.
corralling all of us.
Yeah, same house, the pink house. The house I'm sure is gone, but and then I met Albert, who was there, and Fred, and they're both Shahid, and then Chinook, the Frenchman. So there's 2 Frenchmen, and then me and one other American dude, and yeah, and then I went over, and I never got. I hit the academy for 5 hours because Macer and Tama and Brennan were like, we're going to Shadadi. The fight is on. Let's go. So I literally had like 5 hours of indoctrination. I didn't know Kurdish,
a
dude.
lot of people that are gonna be listening to this
None.
don't actually know what you're talking about. So, like,
Yeah.
can you describe the academy?
Okay, so all foreign volunteers, when they join the YPG or YPJ, they go spend a month at boot camp. And but I skipped all the boot camp. The boot
Boot camp.
camp. The
Why?
training. Yeah, it's not really boot camp, okay, people. It's really actually
It's just
More
ideological
like
training for
just
filthy foreigners
ideological
coming
reading.
in.
Oh,
But you'll have to ask Matt, because he actually spent a lot of time there.
well,
Well, I was
how'd you
there
get
for
to
like
skip.
I was there for like 2 weeks, and then
I got it skipped because I had a medic pack and they were about to go fight, and I had
Oh.
friends that were there that were like, we're taking him.
Okay.
And the YPG, it's interesting. The way it works is really, it's like kind of like through friend validation, through testing you, through making you stand watch and do dishes and
Okay.
make you sit on a berm and see how you act. And so if you have people that are already proven and they're like, we want him, like Shervan was for 223. If he was like, I want this guy, they would give it to him, like he could
Mhm.
go, he could take him. He'd be like, oh, we'll train him on our own.
Okay. So is that why you only spent 2 weeks in there, Cato? Oh,
Yeah.
caught a mix
yeah,
up.
but I mean,
It was hot shit.
I came through when like earlier on when nobody really seemed to know what they were doing. This was like early 2015,
Okay.
and there were maybe 5 other people there, other like foreigners.
Yeah.
there. But again, it was just like ideological training, and
And apparently,
they
you're-
make you shoot like 3 rounds. They like have you shoot 3 rounds in a standing just to make sure that you're not like a complete dumbass when it comes to rifles. And you're like, can you fire it?
Right?
And whenever you shoot it, can you look like you know what you're doing?
so you being hot
So
shit, you know how to shoot.
Like
3
if you got like
rounds.
the whole tactical stance and the standing. Yeah. Yeah. You can miss all 3 rounds completely from like 100 yards that they were doing. And
Well, this guy's a
but if you
fucking
look really
badass.
cool doing it, they're like that guy's a fucking soldier.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's what they said to me. Like
Well, there wasn't like most of the rifles were zeroed.
no, I missed all 3 rounds at the 100-meter because
The rifle wasn't-
it was a kid
Wow.
and he ran up to the top of the hill on the other side of the valley and he like throws up a target and then he runs like 20 feet to the side and just like squat sits, Haji squats or whatever, and then they tell us to shoot at it, and I saw all 3 like hit to the right because they were all either I was a bad shot with it or it wasn't zeroed. Likely a little
He
bit
ain't
of
a
both.
bad shot.
But I looked really
Listen.
cool when I shot it, and they're like, "This guy's a fucking professional." Get him out there.
Don't want this guy shooting at you. Okay, just don't want him shooting at you, and he's fucking hard to kill. I hope I
Yeah.
discuss on this thing.
Oh yeah, he's
Yeah.
told me some stories. He is a fucking hard dude to kill.
He's a fucking hard dude to kill, man.
Wait, what have I told
He's
you?
sitting here smiling is proof.
I'm sorry, how many
here's some
times
broken
did you get
ice.
shot? You got blown across the street. You have chemical burn damage. I think you told me you got set on fire. I don't
No.
know.
What? No, absolutely not that.
Oh no, you didn't get set on fire. I wouldn't be
didn't get
fucking
set on fire.
surprised.
Are you just making up things now?
He knows how to
Remember that
fly.
time at band
He
camp?
stopped a train by himself. Now we're getting into fabrications. No, man.
Clear
Hey, how
out
many
the
times you got to get
water.
shot to prove that you're indestructible? You know?
There's a lot of
More-
people that
more
get
than I was.
shot that don't handle it very good, man.
I just never got shot in the chest. That's the chest or head. Like that's it.
The chest ain't so bad. You just need a chest seal and pop them, bro. It's like, getting shot internally and all that. Bro,
Yeah,
you,
it could have been bad.
yeah, you caught some.
The only like life-threatening one I had was like my lower stomach, basically.
Yeah.
And,
Well, and the fact that it missed your artery there by about that freaking much, where the other 6 didn't hit an artery by like that much. Oh, it's only 6 times. Like
Yeah,
That's
that's fine. It's
gangster shit.
whatever.
oh, I done got shot 6 times.
So-
No problem. He shows up to our CCP shot the fuck, and I was upset because I love.
It was also like
American
3 a.m., so I guess
Special.
you were probably asleep.
Yeah, I was just coming off watch. I was ready for
Oh, okay.
bed. Yeah, you got to get shot at the end of watch, right? Can't get shot at the beginning.
I mean, the
No,
only
man,
time we make
but-
movements was in the middle of the night. Obviously, we
Yeah.
sit all day in our whatever strong building we could find, and then we move at night. And it was whenever I was crossing the road and going to a building. We were like the furthest up for no fucking reason. Probably because Siobhan was like, we'll do it. They're like, who wants to do it? And he's like the first to raise his hand.
You guys are in the
Oh.
city the longest of any unit other than the medics.
Yeah, people kept telling me that. I didn't think that was the case.
Yeah, I think you guys moved to contact 60 days in a row. Same as us.
Well, like
Except
even in
for,
your
like,
documentary, like all the places that you moved into,
You were already
places
there.
that you were there like the week prior. Like
Yeah,
you'd always,
yeah, yeah.
you always
You
go
were
forward and
following right
have a building,
behind you.
nicely fortified building with like nice holes and like beds set up
Yeah,
and
you
little
guys
kitchen.
punched.
That was all it was. Yeah.
It's
The way
good
the
to
way
be a medic,
combat
bro.
the way combat seemed to work over there for me, I called it Nocta warfare, and a Nocta is like an observation post or like just a temporary defensible position. And it's basically just like what house has the thickest walls and the most stories so that you can fight from there during the day. And then you move out at night, and everybody carried like big old sledgehammers. They would just bang kill holes in all the walls on every side of the building. And that was like all of warfare over there.
Well, that and also getting into the buildings too, because of the pressure plates and the mine windows.
mines everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, everywhere. They fucking mined a chicken, dude. They put
I'm
a
sorry, what?
ID on it. They put a fucking ID on a chicken.
Wow,
They put a
that's
suicide vest on a chicken.
a bull
Well,
move.
I also said a couple myself, but they weren't anything advanced. Like there's one I found like a coffee cup looking mug thing, and I put a grenade inside, tied a string to like a fridge that was blocking a big like rat hole that they would move through
Yeah.
on the bottom of a building. That like there's no that way that we could just guard that because it's so far away from where we're fighting, but we're afraid they're gonna come behind us there.
So coffee mug's got it.
Yeah, but it was basically like you try to move the barrier grenade
The
falls down.
coffee was so fucking bad.
Yeah,
It was all
was
that.
gonna
It's all
blow
that
it up.
insta one like little tiny pack of coffee grinds, whatever, and you just mix it in with hot water.
Oh, it's the Mahmood kind of thing. Was
Yeah.
it like the Mahmood or whatever?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's all we had.
Oh, okay. Because we did get coffee, but we couldn't find. I remember like
The only like real coffee there was like the Turkish coffee.
Yeah,
which
it had
is,
spice
like,
in it.
it's like super thick, and like you finish it, and just like a pound of powder at the bottom of it.
It's so
the
gross,
Turkish coffee,
man.
whatever.
No, I want my coffee like.
Back to I want to try and get back on track.
Okay.
Do you not want to talk about coffee, instant coffee for an hour, dude? Because I mean, like, I would like to. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. It depends on how much time you guys got. We can talk for 4 hours if you want.
I got
About
another
instant
couple-
coffee.
River's a
But-
talker though, like because
I fucking talk.
I
Everybody
barely remember
knows.
anything. I barely remember anything, and it's River and Anderson River that like every time we talk, you guys just remind me of everything, and it's like a new story every time because I forget it.
Yeah,
And,
homie Anderson's a sweetheart, dude. He's
yeah.
a fucking killer though.
You
This is actually the longest
Now
I've
he's
ever
in-
heard you talk about this. Like ever.
know?
Yeah, it's like 3
Me?
sentences. Like, yeah, anyways. Yes, you.
Oh yeah, I don't talk about it with anybody else.
Yeah. Well, it's a difficult thing to talk about to the outside because it's just so different than anything that anybody here could ever experience. And I think there's that camaraderie between us, and there's also a really tight personality that actually went. So whether our political beliefs are left or right, you see Rojava vets we're all really close, and it's a really eclectic group, man. It's really eclectic.
Yeah.
There's
But,
there's also a new political ideology I'd like to talk to you more about, which is top bottom paradigm, right? But we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
First, for people who don't know, his Rivers documentary is on Amazon Prime called The Volunteers, and it's a 2-part series,
Or YouTube.
and or YouTube. It's on YouTube.
Yeah,
Yeah.
on YouTube for free, but you got to put in the Volunteers Part 1 or the Volunteers Part 2,
Or it won't come up.
or it won't come up because.
Are there any other
like,
keywords I could look for on that? Because people are gonna watch it on YouTube probably.
Yeah, no, just the
Just
Volunteers
Part 1, Volunteers
Part 1,
Part 2.
Part 2, and
Okay.
it'll come up. It's also on Vimeo, Vimeo, and
Okay.
we gave it away. So initially, AT&T bought it, so we were able to hire some freaking badass editors. Ricky Schroeder really he could have made money out of it. All of us could have made money out of it, but our objective was actually to get this story out as widely with the best quality as possible. So
Yeah.
we were like, fuck it, let's just hire the shit hottest editors we can, and we're in LA, so we
Mhm.
got some good editors, dude. We had 6 main editors in there working on this thing.
I mean,
good.
Tur-
And
Can you give a good brief of like what the Volunteers is?
yeah,
the
Tur-
Volunteers it's about our medical unit in Syria. It was there was 4 medics and 3 or 4 supporting security drivers and ambulance drivers and stuff. And we went to Syria and we set up a combat medical unit in Syria because there was no combat medics there. And I documented the process. And then I documented us going into Manbij, where fighting was really, really heavy. And so the grime and the pain and it's not your video game console war doc. It's what it's really much closer. I was a garbage man in war, like I didn't have like the job where I was, running and storming buildings, man. I went in and I got you out when you're hurt, like, so I had a different perspective of it.
Well, again, on all of the buildings that
And,
you went into, because I think they probably just trailed you guys behind 223 and us.
Yeah, yeah. we
Like
were-
most of the buildings you went into were ones that like we cleared out, and then
Yeah, like 223. I mean, basically our unit operated just right behind the front. So that we were able to tactically insert ourselves to any position on the front line. So I would find myself lost in Manbij getting shot in a B&B, with bullet, 50 cals ripping through the thing. It hit it.
fucking slaps. bro.
Sledgehammer, and there's like a shaft of light coming through the smoke. You're like, oh fuck. So, but our objective was to save life. Like we wanted to take care of our guys. There was no medics there. So when these dudes are going house to house and they're getting shot, there's nobody to help them. And it's a couple hours back to a hospital. So they die getting shot in the shoulder, getting shot in the leg, getting shot in the abdomen, you know. And so like our whole thing was just like to be as close as possible. But you know, and sometimes we got too close. And you know, you really don't want to lose a medic, because when you lose a medic, you lose however many people that medic's going to treat. So
For every one medic, it's 1,000 needless deaths because nobody
Yeah.
has any medical equipment. Nobody has any combat first aid
Right.
knowledge stuff. So they're like, I swear, probably thousands of Kurds and civilians died because nobody knew what to do.
we
Like,
had a
they get shot in the shoulder and like, I don't know, they don't even know how to stop the bleeding. So they're like, oh, well, sucks. You're gonna die. Like,
yeah,
shame.
we had a casualty.
Mark up
out of
Shaheed really
battery
early.
guy shot in the foot. He died
from
being
bleeding out,
shot
probably.
in the fucking foot from
He
bleeding.
died from a foot shot?
Yeah, because he bled out, because they don't understand. Listen, that we have to. You also, it's not the YPG's fault or the Kurds' fault. The Syrian regime repressed the Kurdish people. They weren't allowed to have driver's licenses. They didn't have jobs that they were nurses or doctors or lawyers or teachers. They were the tire changers. They were the plow pushers. They were the dog picker pooper uppers, dude.
Yeah.
Because that's how the regime was able to control them. So after the Arab Spring and the uprising happened, the YPG was already in place from around 2000. So
Okay.
they already kind of had a structure ready to like, we're going to help our people. And they did. But the people they're bringing in, it's not like they're educated. They don't have the knowledge. That's where like Cato.
Yeah, a lot of them couldn't even read.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
swear, reading and writing was how I learned Kurdish, because there was no other text on Kurmanji Kurdish by the time I got there, and there might be some now. And in fact, Kurmanji
There's a
Kurdish
lot
now
now. It's
and
really, really
translate,
cool.
I
They've
think, by
got all
popular
these
demand.
translators translating
Yeah.
stuff into Kurdish. It's
Yeah.
awesome, man. They're really like,
Well, there is
after
now,
since-
but
yeah,
nonetheless,
now,
like
not then.
I found there's one book on the entire internet that I could find on Kurmanji Kurdish, and it was a grammar book with like very basic dictionary stuff and grammar. So like grammar was like my thing, and I could read and write Kurdish better than I could speak it, basically. And so that's how I was trying to like work with them to learn more. And I would write something down, like, and most of the responses were, I can't fucking read. Like, I don't know what you want me to do.
They weren't allowed
Sorry.
to speak Kurdish in schools in public. You know, their whole culture was repressed. So and also not just the Kurds, but the Yazidis and the Alawites.
In each of their
and,
respective countries, Turkey,
Yeah.
Syria, Iraq, and Iran.
Yeah.
Like I'm pretty sure all of them, it was like Kurdish was either socially abolished or like legally abolished. And there's like little tease bead, whatever those little hand
very
beads
cool,
that they use. I've got one that I like keep in my truck, and it was from a nice looking guy. He's a little heavier, had some glasses, and he was a middle school teacher or whatever, something basic school, whatever they called it, in Turkey. And they kicked him out because he was Kurdish and he said like a few things in Kurdish or something. And I was able to get that from the conversation. Like he was speaking Kurdish, like not even like to people or trying to promote it, just like personally to family and friends, whatever. So they like fired him as a teacher for that.
Yeah, it's really.
And Turkey is on a very ethno-religious nationalist vibe right now.
and
Pretty comparative to 1930s Germany vibe, you know?
Good
Yeah, and
God.
they have a huge freaking military, dude.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And they're only a NATO ally because of the spooky, probably non-existent now Russia threat. That we have nukes there and some other stuff that people don't want to talk about. Big old radar sites up on mountains.
Yeah,
looking
but
south, looking southwest and southeast and north.
Russia's right on NATO's doorstep, even though NATO keeps pushing their border closer and closer to Russia.
Russia wants war. Look how close they put their country next to our NATO bases, right?
How dare they?
They're fucking asking for it.
Fucking Russia.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Russia screaming towards the heavens.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty scary thing. We saw a lot of the ISIS fighters that we treated as were coming over from Turkey.
Pipeline
We had-
basically into ISIS territory. And it was that little sliver
yeah.
of what the Kurds were trying to connect between Afrin and basically like Kobani area. And that's what we were doing, like Manbij. And again, your documentary is basically like March 2016 to July,
Yeah, end of July.
which was like, and all you're there for was Manbij, but Manbij was a
Well, actually,
from, from what people tell me now, other than Kobani probably,
yeah, I
but
heard Kobani
it was
but
2 months of just
the,
day and night combat for that
the
city.
casualty in Manbij, it was the most costliest. It was more costly than Kobani, is what I understand.
Yeah.
But I was there for Shadadi, and then Manbij. But in Shadadi, we were really kind of put on the outside, and so I filmed a lot of that, but it didn't go into the documentary, which really kind of bummed me out because a lot of the volunteers that I got to work with early on weren't in Manbij, but they were freaking amazing people. You know, like
Right.
Alex Canada, Shervon Canada, Alex Moreau. He just actually sadly ended his life. You know,
Oh,
it's
I
really, really
shared
tragic.
around that GoFundMe.
Oh, dude,
Alex
that was
Moreau was a
sad.
Canadian volunteer in Syria with us. I think he was with that medical unit for a little
Was.
bit before you started filming that for Manbij, I guess.
Yeah, he got sick. He got an autoimmune disease, so he had to.
Oh.
For Manbij, he actually provided us logistics, but he didn't make he's not in the documentary once. There's like 1 or 2 shots of him.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he committed suicide about 3 weeks ago from this time.
Yeah.
And we've got to GoFundMe up and we'll post it with this podcast.
That'd be awesome. You know, he
donate, and it's basically just for like funeral funds and for his
it's just
family
for funeral,
and,
and he's got a little son, and you know, so we just wanted to give a really nice funeral for his son. You know, Alex saved a lot of lives, and unfortunately, he didn't take care of his PTSD, and in the end, he couldn't save his own.
Yeah, no
But
one
we all
does.
loved him.
There's actually quite a few volunteers killing themselves these days over the past
Yeah,
like 2 years.
Yeah, we've lost 10 or 15 at least.
Oh,
In fact, if you remember Mario
like that.
Nunez, the Portuguese guy,
Yeah,
he killed himself while we were there in Teltamer
yeah,
in that the cattle compound.
yeah.
I was actually the first one to find his body because we went looking for him.
That was a tough day, man.
He went to a haystack. It was something about a Korean girl back home cheating on him, and he was sick at the same time. Like he had the fever. He had a fever, and
We couldn't
all
get
that,
out.
all that piled on top of each other. Like he just went out to the bar and then shot himself.
Yeah, it was also we were stuck. You couldn't leave. The border was closed. The route over was getting drone hit, and then the other route across the border where they're paying smugglers had been busted.
Mhm.
So there was no volunteers coming in or going out. We were stuck there.
Right.
So we didn't know how long. You know,
It was
they were
also the
like,
time
you
that
came once?
this was also around that time was also when we kept on having to scatter out of the known compounds that we were in, like, you know, station or whatever, because Turkish airstrikes were coming over the border and they would hit a couple of positions north, so everyone would freak out, and we'd all like run out and spread out through a bunch of villages throughout Telshammer and Hasaka and all that.
Yeah, airstrikes they're scary shit.
Yeah,
Just
I never thought I'd die from a NATO airstrike, you know,
for my own, I actually
as the
I wrote
intended
it.
target.
I wrote a book and I published it, but I'm not talking about it yet because
What's that
I don't
book?
want- I
Oh,
wrote.
yeah,
a
you
book.
don't want to talk about it yet.
Well, I mean, I'll say that I wrote it, but I'm not really like publicly releasing because I don't want Turkey to come in and try to stop it.
Oh, that's right. That's right. We did
I've
talk
heard-
about that. Yes.
I've heard that Turkey is really trying to stop us from telling our stories because they don't want people to feel empathy towards the Kurds because the Kurds are getting bombed. So anyway, but yeah, you know, it's just, yeah, it's like one of those things where people don't understand, you know, the geopolitics of that region, but they're pretty simple.
Do you think
Yeah.
your documentary would be helpful at all?
I think
I don't.
documentary really helps people to have a heart and understand that when we're talking about civilian casualties or when we're talking about YPG laying down their lives to defeat ISIS, if you watch this documentary and you have a difficult time watching the very few people that I show you in it being hurt, if you can imagine that there was over 10,000 shaheeds, there's over 10,000 YPG SDF that were killed fighting ISIS just in Syria. This isn't even in Iraq. Not to mention the 20, 30,000 more that were injured or the unaccounted for psychological injuries like our friend
Right.
Alex. Myself, I've suffered from severe PTSD since coming back. I kind of hole up in my little space, and you know, like I went too far for too long, but it was worth it. I'm not complaining about it, but I go to the VA, I take care of it. I take care of my mental health. But if you watch the Volunteers documentary and you see these people and you don't feel something, you definitely probably have a problem, because I'm just showing you what people are, and we're all the same. Everywhere in the world, we're all the same.
I was very moved by it. Especially on that part where it was one of your buddies that you had been working with a majority of the time, and I think he got stepped on a mine like
I
the last couple days
actually.
that he was about to go.
Like, if
Oh,
you
I want to
wanna
give
know-
my quick bit about that. Me personally, specifically told him about 45 minutes prior
Yeah.
not to go into those specific buildings because there's still mines inside.
Yeah.
And then a few hours later, we hear over the radio that he died from mines. We go back, we figure it out like the next day, maybe. And they tell us that he went into those specific buildings that I told him specifically not to go into. And it was because they were going to look for ISIS flags for like,
Well,
you know,
so he would.
that's what they told me. Is that
So
right?
what happened? What actually happened is that, well, because we're medics, we got to move around, and one of our dudes found a bunch of ISIS flags, but also intel and stuff, and he traded it to coalition forces for food for MREs, and so when me and Razan were action down into the city, we were told we were going to go down for a week into the city, and there's no logistics down there. So we brought some of that food with us. So we brought a couple MREs with us, and then when we ran into Levi, we had one MRE left. It was the barbecue beef or brisket.
Oh Jesus!
It was a fucking good one, right? It
Oh,
wasn't.
Jesus.
Damage, there was definitely nothing. I think for that entire 2 months, we were sufficing off of like old bags of rice and jars of olives that we found in the house.
Yeah. So then here
Yeah.
come the medics showing up with a fucking.
Oh wait, and I came home shortly after
Christie's
Manbridge, right?
Steakhouse,
I went
right? It's
over to
like-
Syria. I went over to Syria, 210 pounds of just like pure raw fucking muscle and build, and I came back weighing like 125.
God. Well, that's
Wow.
what starvation does.
I was starving the
Yeah.
entire time over there.
Yeah.
So those flags were bartering items.
Yeah.
Like they were literally
Yeah.
life for you.
And the fact
guys.
that we would need to barter war trophies with the bullshit SF teams there for food and medical supplies. Those guys were a bunch of cocksuckers, and I insulted them every time I passed, by the way.
Yeah, well, the thing is, like, they were pretty jealous, dude.
I know that they were, and I wrote
Those
it in
dudes
their
had to
face.
sit there and watch us go get the shit every day, and they just had to sit there, and they're the best of the best, dude, because they were Delta, and,
Right.
like they weren't just they weren't just yeah, no. So
Like the feeling of just like
buy me
sitting in the
another
back
beer.
of a
Help me
pickup.
keep talking.
Like the feeling of sitting in the back of the pickup with sneakers and an AK moving past American SF units to go fight because they're limited to like a mile outside the actual combat area.
Yeah.
Just to sit there and watch and like call in the occasional airstrike on grids that we gave them, that kind of thing. It made me feel really good because I tried to go SF while I was in the army, that kind of thing. So
You freaking rubbed it in their face, dude, when you were shot. It was the funniest thing.
tell me that again, because I keep forgetting what I was saying.
Oh my god, right? So Kato comes in shot like 6 times, dude. Like we said before. And this isn't in the documentary, but it would have been part of it, would have definitely been. But I respect, at the time Kato didn't want to be seen in the documentary much. He is in the shot when I say this is 223. They're the real heroes. They're about to roll in and get some shit. And
That's the only time. And then there's also like another like 2-second scene of me running in the background.
Yeah. When we were down in the city there, that was a gnarly place there, dude.
No, I got like childishly excited when I found myself there because that's like the only shit I have of me being there. I have some photos that I took from like other guys in 223, but I took one video and like 10 pictures my entire 2 years there. Or I'm sorry, like 4 videos, but 3 of them were of dogs. One was like what's the name?
You should see him around dogs, man. He acts the same way as what he describes in these stories. Just gets giddy and Just excited.
Here's one. Here's
There you
one.
go. There you go, Kato.
Oh my God, look at that thing.
This is Uno, and Uno's mom is Uno's mother is deaf, so this is her deaf service dog,
Oh,
and then this is Doc Stella over here. Speaking of dogs, this is my service dog. She's a Veterans Administration
yeah, I remember her.
licensed service
I
dog.
remember her when I was at your place out there
Yeah.
in LA, and then you would like send me videos after of like her dragging you on a skateboard down the road.
Yeah. Then she broke my foot, so I was like, "Fuck you, dude. We're not skating anymore."
That's awesome.
That was it. No, done. Now we ride e-bikes. E-bikes are way better.
Mhm.
They go faster, and if you use the leash that comes in and out, you can actually keep the dog from ripping you off it. Although she has stopped to poop a couple times, and I didn't notice, and just trouble.
Part of the fun.
Part of the fun, but yeah, no, yeah, the documentary, the volunteers, I really would have liked to show a lot more, but look, I was a medic first. My first priority at that point was life-saving, and so I would hide my laptop in rubble, and I would come back for it a few days later, and it was really, really challenging. And so I stopped filming a lot. And there's a lot of volunteers I wish I'd have filmed more, including Levi. And that last day when, Levi and Razan, they triggered an IED, and the IED was a shape charge placed in a wall, aimed to be particularly nasty, but they both had body armor on. And
Great.
it literally saved Razan's life, and unfortunately, it didn't save Levi's life. But Levi died instantly. I mean, he
Oh,
died
and-
instantly.
Correct me if
At least
Razan was the blonde guy. He was the Mormon from Wyoming or something. Oregon.
From where all Mormons are from, Utah.
That's right.
No
Yeah.
offense if you're Mormon.
One of those up there.
He was really actually like the only one of us.
He was like the gentlest soul out there.
He's so
He did not
kind.
belong there at all.
He
But
did not.
we're all lucky that he was there.
We were
When he
real
would cuss,
lucky.
I do remember that. I would cuss around him, and he'd give me this like look.
Yeah.
Like-
There were two Mormons.
Like
there,
settle
dude.
down, sir.
Like the Mormon clan sent two of their own to Syria, dude. Like you have to think like that was pretty good. But both of them have come back and adjusted really well, and most of us haven't. So I don't know. Maybe there's something with the stars or
Oh,
it should-
another tidbit on him. After that happened, he got flown out by by the soft forces there to a nice hospital in Iraq, and then
where they drilled his head
Right.
to keep him alive.
so and then after
Because
I
he
got
would've
hurt,
died.
I got sent to the Kobani hospital, and I got shot.
It was
I got
Boss.
shot- I got shot.
Boss saved you there, dude.
Yeah, no,
Boss saved you there because it was a few days later. Boss says, "Has anybody seen Kato?" Because we've been going back to Kobani, and we were like, "No, I haven't seen him." So Boz and Bagok got in the ambulance, dude, and drove the 2 hours across ISIS-held lands, dude, to come
which I'm,
find
like,
you
wholly
because
appreciative.
the SF said our field tent is set up now. We can take him. So they went and found you, and they were doing exploratory surgeries on you, dude. And Boz came back, and he was freaking furious, dude. He was like, "They're gonna fucking kill him. He looks horrible. He's in there dying." He went down to the SF guys. You could hear him yelling, dude. Boz is, he's loud, dude.
right.
And yeah, he got you transferred out of there, dude. You would have died there in that hospital.
I agree. But
Jesus,
I do remember
dude.
you guys gave me ketamine, a lot of
Oh,
it.
we fucked you up, dude.
And then-
No, we gave you
and then-
we gave you
and then
ketamine and
I mean,
diazepam.
and then we had the several ride to the
Mixed it,
hospital.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we mixed the ketamine with the diazepam. So when you came in, your vitals were pretty decent, dude. And so we were able to pain medicate you pretty good. And once we got you really stable, I threw a bag of ringers in you. And your BP stayed and it was solid. I knew you weren't leaking. Yeah. Then we were like, this is one of our boys. Let's fuck him up.
Hell yeah, man.
By the
No,
way,
we
that
said
ride to the
it.
hospital is
We
in the back of
fucked
that
him up. We
Cavasaur
were
or
sitting
the,
here hitting him with 100.
yeah, it is in the back of that red
of
crescent van, and
diazepam.
there's a strip of LED lights across the top. And I was looking at that, but it was like moving around to where it made it look like I was flying through the universe, and I forgot what existence was for just a
Hell
little
yeah,
bit.
man.
I remember
Good
I remember
fucking
looking at my
dude.
hand in the back. I remember looking at my hand in the back of the van and not knowing what it was. So that was fun. But I do remember when we got to the hospital, Bosk was there, or Brusque was there, and I kind of like gained
Yeah, 'cause it was
consciousness
his
or
shit,
awareness.
dude.
I gained
I told
consciousness
that
or awareness
fucker,
when
I
we
was
got
like,
to
"You're
the
gonna fucking
hospital.
ride with him." I said, "You're gonna fucking ride with him. My shift is over, bro."
So when I got to the hospital and I like gained awareness, and we were in the waiting room for me to go into surgery. And I remember looking around. I saw Brusque in the corner laughing. And I looked back. There were a couple of doctors flipping my dick around. And I was just like butt naked. And then I looked to my left, and there was like a nurse kind of standing there assisting the surgeons, and just like looking at me with like a little smirk on her face. Like,
Yeah, because bro,
I looked down and my dick was
You're
just
a
like hanging
shower,
out. I was
you might
completely
not be a-
naked. I looked at Bruce. I was like, "Am I naked right now?" And he started laughing even harder.
good thing that thing's so fucking big, dude. Because otherwise, when you got shot, if it was a little dick, it'd have been fucking gone.
I'm
dude.
surprised they were in the photo. Such a small
That thing's
landscape.
like a fucking arm, yo.
Do you hear
chicks
that,
out there,
ladies?
just so you know, Kato's
Yeah.
got a fucking arm.
Kato here confirming that these are all lies.
I only winged it.
This is
It
a
just
CIA
winged it. You got real
propaganda trying to
lucky.
get me laid. And
Hey, listen,
Uh,
we fought who was gonna touch it. In the end, we all touched it.
hey, there it is, man. Easy now, man. You're gonna get me jealous.
Fucking medic humor, bro. Medic humor. It gets you through the bad parts, you know, when you see your friend hurt.
Yeah,
And,
man.
you know, it's like the worst thing you could ever see is one of your dudes shot in the dick or the balls, dude. I'm telling you.
And the funny part is, about 3 weeks prior, we would all joke around and we were talking about getting shot because, like, you know, people get shot or whatever. And I made specifically clear the only places I don't want to get shot are the knee, the stomach, or the dick. Because
That's like every spot that you got shot.
places in my mind. And then I got shot in all those places.
That's
at once.
literally every
And it
single
wasn't-
spot.
Yeah.
Maybe you should have knocked
No,
on
but,
wood first, bud.
Yeah. River, to get back to it so we don't like trail off too far.
Yeah, sorry.
Firstly, what did I say to the SF medic that was there?
Oh, dude, you
'Cause I
ripped
keep
them,
forgetting.
man. So it wasn't just the SF
Fuck yes,
medic.
dude.
because They heard an American shot, right? So they actually really cared about us, and so they showed up not just with the SF medic, but with the 3 dudes that came with them, right? And Kato's down there, and he was like, "Ha, but you all pissed off you fucking missed it." He was like, "Well, y'all just sitting back here. We're out there killing them." And he was like, "Guess what?" And you're just like,
This was after the ketamine, though.
Yeah.
The only thing I remember saying while I was there was, "Can I have a cigarette?" The medic
Well,
dude
we
looked down
got
at me.
him really high.
He said probably not, and I said I'm gonna fucking smoke anyways. And then I grabbed a cigarette and I was smoking while they were.
So we
That's the
got
only
him
thing I
really-
remember.
By the
though.
time that the Delta dude showed
That was
up, man,
before the ketamine.
he was fucking high, dude. Okay.
Yo, that's
Now, I
fucking
didn't have
rad, man.
acid like we did later in the ambulance ride. They really hit him. You know, I was hitting him with 60 and 5. So I was hitting him with 60 milligrams of ketamine and 5 milligrams of diazepam because it keeps him from going down in a ketamine hole. You know, and
Okay.
I had some of that just for him. So he was really high. So when the Delta guys came in, he was a fucking riot, dude. He was zooing them, bro. He was fucking straight zooing them.
That's
And-
fucking
and
rad,
we-
man.
Just sitting there. He was like, you know what? You know why I'm here? He said, because you fuckers wouldn't let me in.
Oh my god. Fucking rad, man.
He's like, so I quit and I fucking came anyway. I don't think he cusses as much as me, but it was pretty funny, dude. I'm probably cussing a
Oh,
little more because I'm
jeez.
thinking some Castaway.
Hell yeah,
but-
man.
But it was such a great moment because when I see a casualty talking, not going into shock, you know.
No, it's pretty butthurt because when I went in the army, I tried to go Green Berets or whatever, and I fucked up, and they dropped me for temporarily.
Damn, Rambo, you never told me that shit.
Damn,
Damn, this is-
that's what you had me on before. You didn't even know he's the real deal.
This is
This dude
this
is
is quickly
really
becoming
tough.
one of my favorite episodes. But but so yeah, so okay, so what you guys both went to prison. You guys both I mean
Yeah, it's because River. I don't know if I've ever told you that, but like my way out, we went through Erbil. I tried to bribe like the last checkpoint along the way in Erbil, and they took me in. I wasn't there very long, but it was fine. And then I went to Suli and flew out. All right, no, hold on. I actually flew out of Erbil, barely, and they tried to stop me at the airport, and they were like doing cross checks or something. And then I was like, my flight's like right now, and I think I just like talked about it.
Mm.
I just think I don't look like a threat generally. I'm
Dude,
very
you got
friendly.
lucky, man.
I'm very friendly with strangers,
PJ ended up in there for 45 days, dude.
but he's a tall, terrorist-looking guy. You know?
Yes, yes, yes. You have that nice baby face, dude.
Yeah.
And a big
That's right.
fucking dick.
Jesus.
Girls, let me tell you. if
Well,
he's
no, I
not
stuff
taking-
my pants. You know,
Oh man.
Hey,
that place
Kato, is that
sucked,
an
dude.
AK in your
Iraqi
pants, or you just
freedom?
happy to see everyone?
no, I literally stuffed an AK in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds
He's
like you
actually
guys.
lucky he got shot with
It's
our bullets. You know, he got shot with our bullets. He got shot with 5.62 rounds.
yeah.
And
No, all three.
Three of
The
them.
surgeons gave me a little Ziploc bag afterward and said, like,
Oh,
they're all what we
there
put
was a
out of you.
7.62.
Yeah, it was a 7.62 by 54, 7.62 by
You caught a good
39,
one.
and a 5.56.
Good thing that didn't clip
Wait,
it.
do you-
It's because it was multiple dudes who lit up into me all at the same time.
Oh man.
And
Do you still
uh,
have these?
Huh?
Do you still have these?
No,
Oh,
no, I
okay.
don't.
Yeah,
I couldn't
you
really
kept
bring
him
a
like
bag
the
of
watch.
I
in
couldn't
that
really, I
movie.
couldn't really smuggle out
We
of
Were
myself
Soldiers?
out of Iraq with a bag of bullets. You know, it seems like a
I
bit
had
much.
his.
It was bad enough that I,
Wait,
that I had some ISIS
You gotta
flags
tell
in
the
my
watch
bag.
story, dude.
Huh?
Fuck. The watch story is the best story. We're missing the
Oh,
watch-
that's well, that's the personal connection between us two.
okay.
Well, I mean, the night I was hurt, I had this little Velcro the entire time I was there, and he took it off that night and he kept it, and we saw each other in LA about 4 years ago, 3 years ago, something
Yeah.
like that, and he gave me the watch back,
Yeah.
and that was like the only it gave me like a wave of like flashbacks of like, oh fuck.
Remember how many times you looked at it? For no
He said he washed all the blood off of it.
I
So thank
did.
you. Well, because it was on my left wrist, like I shot on the left hand, so it was just like probably soaked.
It was.
Yeah.
And I took it off and I put it on the thing and you left and then I found it. And you know, those things you can't get there. So
Right.
I'm like, I'm going to keep this. And I knew he wasn't going to go back to his unit anytime soon. So I just figured I'd hang on to it and give it to him if I could, you know, it was like We Were Soldiers moment for sure, dude. That to me
Okay.
was,
Oh, it was.
One of
It,
my
it was like World War II vets meeting up 80 years later.
Yeah.
That's the emotion that we had at that time.
yeah, it was pretty,
That's how it felt.
I felt awkward at first, you know, because like, just like, I don't know, like, when you treat somebody, they're in their most vulnerable state, you know, and you develop a connection to them, you know, because I really care, and so getting to see Kato when he came, getting to see Matt. Kato is his Kurdish name, so if you hear me saying Kato, that's his Kurdish name. But getting to see him was like, it was a really emotional experience. It really moved me, you know. It was like, even though I'm suffering from, you know, what I did there, my PTSD and stuff, it's like getting to see him and see how good he's doing, you know, it's like, it was fucking worth it.
It's
you know?
great, man.
So yeah, fuck yeah. But
Well, it sounds like you guys spent the same amount of time after you were both trying to get out and get back to the U.S. in prison. I don't know if that's something you guys want to go into, and I know that like
Well,
a lot of this
well, I
shit's
mean-
dark. So if you,
Yeah.
if you want to move on, we'll move on.
Well, I mean, after Manbij, I was probably in Syria for another 3 months.
Yeah.
I spent a little bit of time at the Malabir Nadar, which is like a wounded home in
Yeah.
What's the name? Well, what's the name of that northeast town? That very northeast one, river.
it's hold on, no, I'm brain farting it, dude. Nah.
It's the Kurdish name for the town. Too,
Yeah,
so-
it's the Kurdish name, and it's right up by the border there.
You know where I'm talking about, but very
yeah.
northeast. I spent a couple months there because I was still on crutches and had a big
Derek.
old rap.
Derek.
That's it.
Ah,
But
It
I was
takes a
only
while to put
I spent so
together.
much time there because I was still on a crutch from the one in my right knee, and nonetheless I was like, I've spent enough time here and I'm not going to get better. I need to go back and see medical help at home. And I went across we did that border walk on my crutch. It was a big bright thing, and I wrapped the entire thing in black electric tape. By the way,
That's not a joke of a walk either.
no, it's not. It's not fun. It's
No.
not fun, especially me being injured. And then there's some civilian doctor and a couple other, like a group of like 20 other fighters that were doing it. And like, there's a thing at the end where like after we crossed the river, we took our little stashed CRRC boat type thing and like had to haul it like a mile up the hill to the next hiding point or whatever.
At one
And like
crutch.
everyone was so like bitch made from the walk that they couldn't do it. So I grabbed the crutch. I grabbed the boat myself from the crutches and was like took their
Well,
spots.
110 pounds of you.
Yeah, I was getting angry at the end of it. For sure. Oh, well, for those who don't know, like the only way to get into Syria safely from there to the YPG area was through Kurdish Peshmerga held territory in the government of Iraq.
It wasn't really safe.
Right. But I mean, the Peshmerga would stop because they're like different factions of the same ethnicity, I guess. Different political, like the Iraqi Kurdistan, they have two political factions. If you could, the KDP and the PY, not PYD.
No, PDK.
PDK. Yeah, PDK is like more pro PKK, YPG, and the PD.
It's PUK and PDK. The PUK.
Oh, PDK and PUK. That's right. PUK is more friendly toward the YPG and the PKK and like all the kind of guerrilla movements of the Kurdish people, and the PDK is more like pro Iraqi governance and Turkish governance, and like they do a lot of like awkward back deals. And like right now, there's a ton of NATO or Turkish forces in northern Kurdistan and northern Iraq hunting down the PKK with permission from the PDK government. So and it's Barzani, the Barzani family, and they're a bunch of corrupt assholes who's ruining this entire Kurdish revolution. But
yeah, so in Iraq, when you fly into Iraq to go into Syria, you have to deal with these two different factions. So like when Erbil, where we went to jail, is PDK. So that's Barzani. Solidania, that's PUK. And that's why we're able to operate in and out of Solid. Because they're much more about all of Kurdistan, not just our little spot. So, but you know, in the Middle East, just like everywhere, corruption is a problem. And you know, but in Rojava, the corruption isn't really happening, and so it's a big threat to corruption. So the Kurds that are corrupt in Iraq are really not friends of ours.
They're making like oil deals and military deals with Turkey and like strategic deals on the southern front with like recently reclaimed territory from ISIS with the Iraqi government kind of thing. And the PUK is more like revolutionary, siding with the PKK and the YPG and the HPK and all that kind of stuff.
Right. More about.
And then in order to cross a border, like people are like dressing up in Peshmerga uniforms and trying to drive by, hiding their faces, or like the standard is like a 6-hour walk through the middle of the night across shit terrain and crossing the it's a Tigris River. Yeah. But literally crossing the Tigris River, smuggling across the Tigris River, like I don't know. Kind of makes me feel like I understand the Mexican smuggling ordeal in America, you know.
Yeah,
I imagine it's the same kind of process, but slightly worse because your chances of getting caught is higher due to the border patrol.
Yeah, but then again, they're not soldiers, you know. We were, you know, so like there's also like it's a little more doable. Yeah. But you know, the Iraqi prison, since you wanted to know about it, so Iraqi prison, there's no criminal justice system like here. So, you know, innocent or guilty is irrelevant. And in the cell that we were kept in, it was 16 feet by 35 feet, and there was 90 to 100.
And they pack it full. They pack it like almost nuts to butt full.
No, it is nuts to butts. Like it's literally like when you sleep, somebody's sleeping next to you and somebody else is sleeping next to you, and somebody's feet are on your head and your feet are on somebody else's head because you sleep 3 stacked all the way down. And there's so many people that you literally only have your body space. And during the day, you're not allowed to stand because there's so many people, and you're sitting on concrete all day. So it fucking hurts. And then they're psychologically fucking with you. And then plus, in my case anyway, I literally came out of hell. Like Manbridge was fucking hell when I left. And I end up in like this. First I was in Hook, and they were torturing people in there, and you could hear them howling, and it was like it's just you never heard somebody howl like this. It sounded like a cat. You ever wash a
Not
cat?
only that, but like I saw people directly being taken from my cell and put into the, where they're howling. And they wouldn't like separate people appropriately. It's like a bunch of suspected ISIS members and stuff like that, or like somebody anti-Kurdish control kind of thing. They just push everybody in the same cells, and then so like we got back and we're basically like sitting in a cell with other like most likely ISIS members or whatever. But also I want to make clear, I mean, like obviously Kurds are a good idea, but they were extremely racist toward Arabs.
Yeah,
rightfully so from the situation, but that's just like the entire Middle East. It's all like an ethnic battle over there for centuries, for a millennia.
There was an Arab guy that they put in prison there because the mayor of his town, his son wanted his house. It was Kirk. And so he was like, no, I'm not going to sell my house. And then they showed up at his house in the middle of the night and rolled him up in a carpet and took him down there. And he had been in that jail for 2 years already. No charge. Nobody even knew he was there.
Right.
And he's like 70 something years old. It's like his life's over, they just, and that's, yeah, there is a lot of ethnic back and forth. But I see that a lot less in Rojava. Like
Rojava is definitely a lot better, but like the PDK, like kind of just the Iraqi side of the ISIS territories, like it was still like an ethnic battle of like trying, not like ethnic cleansing, like they're not genociding anybody over there, but it was like trying to push people, whoever controlled whatever village that was, they were just pushing people not of that ethnicity out of it.
Yeah,
it's happening both on the Iraqi, the PDK, and even I saw the POK side with the Peshmerga, but Rojava and the YPG and the SDF, they were leaving everything as it is, just trying to construct a more democratic Syria, I guess.
I love the fact that you told SF to eat a dick.
Oh, he did, dude. He was like, fuck you. That was the best. That was like the best moment. That's like one of the memories that you hold. And you're like, yeah. Because especially
that's just me being salty and like selfish.
You're a salty bastard, dude.
That's it.
I'm gonna buy you that shirt that I got from the Navy.
Well, like I joined the army because I was like, I'm gonna go SF and like do all these cool things in these other countries and help people, that kind of thing. And then I got dropped, and then I was like, fuck this. So like leaving, because I was like, before leaving the army, which in fact I don't know if I've ever told you this, River. The reason I went to Syria in the first place, or the YPG, was because my last deployment in the army was in Turkey.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It was a 6-month deployment to Turkey, and we were like doing static security for a air radar site up in the mountains, kind of near Malatya. But it's all like on the southern border. But like you would feel a vibe that Turkey is pro ISIS, and then I would like try to investigate a little more because I'm interested, because it's like this was around the time of Kobani. Like the Kobani battle, like late 2014.
Mm-hmm.
And I would ask around, and everyone just seemed very pro ISIS and anti-Kurd, because because I didn't understand anything about like the Turkish Kurdish conflict for a very long time. But
what like private or specialist does, I mean, you get told where to go and you go.
Yeah,
right. But I started asking questions about it, and my response was like, don't fucking worry about it. Like, stop asking questions, kind of thing, like very directly. But it was only like my platoon sergeant and my first sergeant, that kind of thing. And then I eventually asked my CO when I was in a car with him by myself, driving into town for whatever. And it's more like yeah, it's very great. But of course, before deployment out there was when ISIS was kicking off, and they were like right next to the Syrian border, and we were like in Turkey, and he was pumping us up like, we're gonna go fight ISIS here. We're going to southern Turkey. We're gonna be on standby. Oh, that's not what we were at all. We were just doing like NATO bullshit of like helping the Turks out. And then it got to the point where like you could see a checkpoint between Turkey and Syria. You'd see a Turkish flag on top and then a smaller ISIS flag right underneath it on the same pole with Turkish, security standing at the standpoint. And you can see oil coming in and supply trucks and people going out, that kind of thing.
That's where a bunch of my buddies deployed to, like right before I left my unit to go to the dark side and become an officer. Unfortunately, a bunch of my buddies went to Turkey, and the others went to Kuwait.
They probably all went to like Adana Air Force Base.
Yeah, and the ones
There,
and they're intel analysts, and so they saw the dirty secrets, and like the ones that went to Turkey all immediately like left after their contracts were done, and like some of them were like, I'm gonna do this for life, I'm gonna do this forever, I'm gonna die in the military, blah blah blah, I'm gonna do this until I can't walk anymore. And all of them who went to Turkey were like, nah, I'm done, I'm out, I'm good.
Right. I mean, the ISIS situation was such a black and white scenario. Like ISIS is bad, obviously. Everyone in the 21st century condemns that.
Wait, do you mean authoritarian theocracies, like regimes who commit genocide, are bad?
Correct. Yeah.
That's hot
Correct.
take. Hot
No,
take.
yeah.
Hot take.
Hot take. All right. It's kind of sad though when you think about like what kind of person Matt is, and when we send our troops overseas and our allies are fucking Nazis, it's like it conflicts.
It's
let's
an
get into
opportunity
that.
for the ordinary man to see like what politics really is. It's all just dirty, grimy, unhonorable bullshit. And River, what's your perspective on like why the Syrian conflict happened, why ISIS was given the opportunity to exist in the first place? What do you think even started the Syrian Revolutionary War?
I think that the Syrian Revolutionary War is a reaction to oppression and to the colonial imprint from 120 years ago. And
Okay.
so what happens is that it's like if you get sick and you go out and go running, you're going to get more sick, right? So over time, the political climate, the corruption, the lack of representation, the repression, the wars, the military industrial complex, it needs a place to have war, to sell war. And because of oil money, you just have a dichotomy of just all kind of bad things together. And when the Arab Spring happened, it was actually really encouraging for a second. You thought like democracy, people are tired of being repressed by people like Gaddafi or Assad. And, there was kind of like this thought of like, it's going to change. But what happened is that in my opinion anyway, is that there's so much money made in war and there's such an opportunity to make a lot of money there. And it's in the Middle East, so the world is kind of racist against the Middle East. So it makes it easy to sell, and it's like, so what is actually you think was a good thing was a really bad thing. And it's just a fucking mess, dude. And really the answer is to invest in peace, invest in opportunity, and stop fucking selling guns to extremists. It's like, if we want peace in the Middle East, deal with Turkey.
It's not even selling, like we directly gave.
We support.
I was probably shot by 3 weapons that were given to the Middle East, Iraq and Syria directly.
You got shot by munitions that were made here in America.
That's correct. Yeah.
That were hitting an American body defending democracy.
And it makes me very upset.
Yeah. It's just
No, you
not right.
seem super cool with it, dude.
Yeah.
You
You
seem
should
that
try
way.
getting shot 6
Yeah.
times. At least only 3 of them were from us. So I would think, personally, when I think about like the past and how confusing it can be to people, it's actually really not confusing. It's colonial. And if we want to rectify that, then we need to start investing in democracy. We need to invest in infrastructure and opportunities and education. And it's like Afghanistan is a perfect example of what are we going to do? Are you kidding? Like the Taliban sweeping through Afghanistan right now, like the ANA is fleeing into these cities and they're hiding and they're like, it's such a, so now ISIS is going to rise again in Afghanistan over the same mistakes of not investing.
Is that still really active? Because I heard about that like a year and a half, 2 years ago. Like ISIS,
It's so
like an
bad.
ISIS branch starting in Afghanistan.
Yeah, no, ISIS is there in Afghanistan.
They're still there, and
Yeah,
territory.
Yeah, they're
Like,
there and strong.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good luck against the
They're there,
Taliban,
strong.
against the local warlords, against the tribes.
Yeah, but the Taliban is all local warlords. That's just when you say the Taliban, you're literally just kind of saying like America.
Okay.
They don't even
Literally,
have, like,
yes.
yeah, it's
Literally.
and I think there's a
yes.
lot of people that are a lot smarter on Afghanistan. I know a lot more about Syria, but I'm just capitulating the idea that while we pull out of Afghanistan and we're redoing the same thing we did for ISIS to be created, and it's like, who's making the money? Why don't we go after their freaking money? We could go after
Who's making the money?
Yeah,
I mean, a lot of people are making money off this conflict, and it's not just in the
Everybody
Middle
is.
East.
Everybody but the people actually fighting it. That's it.
Yeah. We're dying in it.
Yeah.
So
I mean-
how do we change that? That's the question.
Kate, I'm gonna pass the
that
ball.
is-
I'm gonna
that
keep
is
the
the
ball in your court.
Oh, me and Matt
All
went
right, so River, we're gonna change it up here a little bit.
okay.
Full disclosure,
Yeah.
this podcast, Jay and myself are full-blown anarchists. Whenever I said we're gonna talk about a paradigm shift,
The flag behind me.
he's got a little flag in the background.
Okay.
I turned off my camera because the Wi-Fi is shit in my office. Why I put my office here? We'll never
Turning
know.
off video is probably gonna approve.
Yeah, that's why I had my video off this whole time.
kind of thing. But
Lo siento.
I was talking about the paradigm shift. It's not left versus right anymore, and the way we should be looking at it is top versus bottom. It's authority versus individualism, and freedom and liberty, and like letting people live their lives according to their own cost. So, in that perspective, how do you think looking at it from a top to bottom paradigm, how do you think the Syrian territory could be different, if not reinstated with new forms of just governance? Or I'm asking this all wrong. There's so many better ways to phrase this, but I can't think of it right now. There's so many better basic questions to ask you, but
Well,
I'm asking, what do you think about the idea of that?
I think the idea is really solid, dude. I think that when you take power and you move it down to a local level,
Decentralize it,
Yeah.
which is democratic and federalism, which is what the Rojava revolution is all about, right?
and I think there has to be a balance between capitalism and socialism, because neither one works. So neither is working. So there has to be an idea that, I guess I bring this out of my own moral compass of where I want to be my brothers and sisters' keeper, and I think that it's good to be able to prosper off your hard work and to benefit it. And I think you should be rewarded for that, but not at the expense of your brother or sister, And so where we're at right now in capitalism is that it's toxic, right? You're watching municipalities sell off their power and all these other, water, and that's what happened in Detroit, Michigan, right? So, or not Detroit, but Flint.
Flint.
The
Flint,
water,
yeah.
with Flint, with the water crisis and stuff. And that was because they privatized their fucking water, and then the private company's like, hey, we can make way more money if you just pump it out of the river, right? Sorry, I am a river,
Is that what happened? Do
dirty.
you know more about what happened there, by the way? Just from my understanding, because I
Yeah, go ahead. I'd like to hear your perspective, because
no, I actually don't know.
Oh, okay, yeah. So what happened there is that they privatized their water, and so they went from using this like expensive water treatment plant to just drawing water out of the river, and that's where the first
That's
water
literally all that
crisis
happened. They just pumped water straight out of the river into home.
That's right out of the river, and it's toxic as fuck because it's just industrial because they're poor, right? And so as the municipalities can't raise the tax money, they start borrowing and selling off their assets to pay their police, to pay their criminal. a fucking new tank for their police department. You know what I mean? Like,
Their
listen,
priorities,
I really don't want to see a cop show up to my house with an AR-15, dude. If I need a cop to show up with an AR-15, I want SWAT team.
I mean, I'd rather
we have this.
I'd rather no cop show up. I'd rather my neighbors show up. My neighbors, I know them
Yes,
personally. I can trust
exactly.
them.
we have
Right?
a lot of opinions on this. Yeah.
Right. So anyway, but the idea, look, capitalism, we're all about profit, money, the trickle down economy, it's all this one thing, right? Socialism is on the other side, right? Which is socialism actually means a government for the people, right? But there's also like communism, which was kind of drawn out of socialism. And so and there's anarchism, right? Which is all about local ordinance, small government, just local people, right? Because when you put a big power structure together, you create corruption.
Well, anarchism in and of itself is basically just lack of governance, more
Self-governance.
more just like self-governance.
Good people.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, the
Just being a good person.
people ruling
Right.
over themselves and voluntary interactions. I mean, you say that socialism
Like
is
the
the government
idea
of the people.
of voluntary donations could
Yeah.
always and will always achieve more than government, like welfare.
You
Yeah,
say
that's
yeah.
the way
you
wanna
say
look at it.
socialism is the government of the people, and we argue that there is no government for the people, and that government will always look out for themselves and be tyrants
Well, it's-
over anything else.
Yeah, well, it's Hermetic, right? Because the Hermetic philosophies teach that if you're going to be religious, that you can't organize, because then you create a power structure, and in the very sense of a power structure itself is not religious, right? So it's the same with governance. It's like in itself it can't exist, but within the moral structure and the code of who we are as people, do good, take care of your neighbor. Like we all have, like, normal non-predatorial people all have that kind of similar baseline, right?
Yes.
And if the normal non-predatorial people create a strategy for their livelihood of, if the time comes when we need to be predatorial to protect our own, then we will. And that's the entirety of like the lack of governance, like the lack of government security, i.e. a police force. It's being replaced with just communities taking care of themselves and protecting themselves with whatever they need to do.
So basically,
that kind of thing.
anarchism, as you guys see it, is neighborhood watch.
Yeah. I mean, it
Right?
essentially boils down to
take care of
don't
each
hurt
other.
people, don't take the
Well,
don't take
based on
anyone's
the
shit.
term neighborhood watch as known today, it's going to be a lot different than that. but-
Right? Like,
It's
Right.
not
I'm
like
gonna
the
walk
movie
around my
with Ben
neighborhood and
Stiller.
make sure my neighbors are okay.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm a medic on the block. Everybody knows here, if somebody has a heart attack or gets sick, they can come here, and I got
Right.
oxygen. I got
That's anarchy.
Like 99% of people in the United States right now, if they go outside their house and walk around their neighborhood, they're not going to know. It's unlikely that they're going to know more than two people.
Oh yeah.
Because we've traded localized, awareness with this like federal corporate media, like governance of like Big Daddy will take care of you. You don't know him. You're never going to talk to him, but he will take care of you. And like, so everybody's disconnected. Nobody likes each other.
I
And you're in LA, so like, I don't have to tell you like people.
no,
What people in
actually,
LA think
you know
about
what's
other people in
amazing?
LA.
What's amazing to me when I stopped giving a fuck? I met so many amazing people because of my PTSD. I actually like absolutely don't care what people think of me, because I gave everything I have for them and I love them.
Right.
Not that I don't care what they think of me, that I'm an asshole, like, oh, I don't care what you think of me. It's that I don't care their opinion for me, because I already love them so much. I gave so much of me, just like you. So when I'm out and around, I have different interactions with people, and I surf, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So I have this community in the ocean, and it's amazing community in the ocean. I know all my neighbors here, all of them, but it's not the norm. It's really not the norm.
Right.
It's because my dog, because my service dog, because I'm out in my front yard hanging out.
But yeah,
having a-
it's like whoever you can build a community with, like everybody ends up just being nice to each other. But when
we
when
live
you
in a
lose
world
that
where
sense of
everybody's in
community,
the phone, dude.
when you
And they're in line
lose
and they're
that
on
sense
the
of community
phone.
with anybody
They're
and
not
everybody,
talking to each other.
right?
And it's like, so how do we create that social change is by not giving a fuck and saying hi. You know, I'll walk down the street, I say hi to somebody, they don't say hi back. I'm like, oh, you're that motherfucker, huh? I say hi to you. I'm sorry to say mother. That's not a good.
Oh, you're
word to say.
fine. Go ahead.
I'm
But
sorry to say
well,
mother,
no,
but
'cause I'm
fucker is fine.
Yeah, no, you can say fucker. I just don't want to be sexist, dude. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause I like me. You know what I mean? Like, I take one.
No, you're good.
You say whatever you want on here, man. I'm cool.
But if all of us around us, you know, start to take care of each other more. If you look for, my goal is, what can I do today that's good for my neighbor? So like I literally the other day I was in my trailer in my yard, and I was thinking to myself, oh, my day's gonna go. I'm not gonna get to do nothing good. A salesman came by the neighbor's lady's house, banging on the door. She comes out. Uno. So I'm yelling at the Chihuahuas bark.
Yeah,
If you can hear that all the
yeah.
I know Trevor barks. That's it.
Oh man,
He's good.
this
Okay,
is right.
So listen, if my goal is, if I can do something good every day for one person or two people, then that's like, I look for that, right? So the other day, the salesman comes, knocks on the neighbor lady's house, and she's like, no, I'm not interested in selling my house. And he just wouldn't take no for an answer, you know? So I yell out of my trailer, hey, what kind of person are you? You're a pregnant woman, tell you she don't want it, and you're still there messing with her. Yeah, so the guy leaves. And then she texted me, oh, thank you so much. You helped me out so much. And then they bring me over some lemons for my food. You know what I mean? And like, then when they're going to leave, then they ask, oh, hey, can you look out for our house? I'm like, yeah, no problem. Right. And that's how community is built, by us looking out for each other, doing good for each other. So if, you know, again, like having been where me and have been, and seeing what really happens to society and the lack of that, you know, when we come home, it's like, it's so much more important to push for that. And so it's not that complicated. You don't have to make it like this big thing that you have to do. You just do one thing. Just do good for one person. You know, you got the old lady down the street.
It's like that old late 90s movie, Pass It On, or Paid Forward. That was it. Yeah.
Yeah, pay it forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, pay it forward.
Oh,
we all keep paying it forward, man. It's going to be such a better place, because each of us have a place to fit in there. You know, like Cato, he's a Shervan, man. He's a warrior, right? Like, somebody else is a teacher. Somebody else just likes a clean place, you know. And each one of those, it's like fingers on your hand. We all create the hand, you know. So I guess my biggest takeaway from Syria, from being in the YPG, you know, and seeing that great experiment taking place, you know, was like, it kind of gave me like reflections of what it worked like when we began it, maybe 200 something years ago. And it also, it reinvigorized that idea in me that I should be my brother and my sister's keeper, you know. And that's something that I brought back here.
Right, but the keynote here is that it's voluntary. When
Yeah.
like we're talking about the difference between like capitalism and socialism. Like what socialism misses is that it's not voluntary. And I believe like pure socialism dies outside of a village of more than 100 people.
Yeah.
Like the moment people stop knowing each other personally, everything dies and everybody starts hating each other, and it becomes unjust. Balkanization. And do you know what I mean by that term? Like breakdown of governance into very small sectors of people who are like-minded, who care for each other, who know each other personally, because that's what people need. They need a community that cares and knows each other.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
So
we're very
so the idea of like the federal government in the entire United States in and of itself is unjust, and we should revolutionize past
And
that.
we sell this image of ourselves to ourselves like
Right.
a fucking selfie. You know, we're so great. And that's what I
And they
said.
put it on the
about
internet for anonymous people that they don't know, for
Yeah.
some kind of like
Yeah, who gives a
self-respect that
Yeah.
that they don't need, deserve, or require.
Yeah, dude, it's
Yeah.
ego. And it's that also goes to new liberalism, right? The
Mm.
idea that we're always supposed to be happy. Like, fuck you, dude. Like, I'm driving my truck the other day and I just start crying. And should I feel bad that I'm like driving and I'm crying?
No, it's human
No,
emotion.
dude, you know what I did? I pulled over. I just let myself cry, dude. And then I was like, okay. I collected myself. I'm like, all right, Riv, you went through a lot of shit, dude. It's okay to feel this way. It's okay to be sad today.
Yeah.
And I went through the rest of the day sad. And
And you're
you know,
entitled to
we're-
that emotion, man.
we all are, but we're
Yeah.
always sold this idea you're supposed to be happy all the time, or you're
Yeah.
supposed to be financially successful all the time, or you're always, you know, or in socialism, the other end, you know, like the community is always above you, you know, it's like there's no place for you, you know, it's like, so, you know, finding that balance, you know, it can seem really overwhelming. But if
Well,
you
I mean,
just
that's what
start-
anarchism is actually all about: is taking care of the individual. Is the individual looks out for himself,
and I really
self-responsibility,
like
It's
what
protecting the
self-reliability.
smallest minority. Right. It's protecting the smallest minority in this country, which is you, and which
Right.
is me.
right.
Right. Because we're all different, like pretending collectivization and that we're all the same. We're all in this like eternal struggle for, you know, one purpose is ridiculous. Right.
And it's like, what? One purpose. You're supposed to be fucking happy
Yeah.
all the time.
River, full disclosure, like this is how I've thought for the past like 7-8 years, but I've kept it to myself, and then
I really love that because
and then I got divorced from the woman that you met last
Yeah?
time I was at your
Yeah,
place,
yeah.
right?
well, she was really sweet, but dude, she definitely had a wild side.
But but after that, like I got really active online and I made a big following, and then
I'm really proud of you, man. Like, you know, I think that, you know, you're one of the smartest people I know, dude. And
thanks.
and you have a freaking giant heart, dude. And you put yourself out there for all of us. And you know, I really enjoy hearing your ideas. Like, I've learned a lot about anarchism tonight because a lot of the anarchists came out and helped us support Rojava while we were protesting. But I didn't
Right.
really
So
understand. I'm thinking
also to
anarchy.
make
I'm like,
clear
yeah,
to make clear
fuck
though,
you, let's burn it down.
Right.
Woo!
to make clear though, anarchism is not like what 90% of people who call themselves anarchists say, right? Think of like fuck.
So you're not the big boogeyman. What do they call those? Antifa?
No, we're like anarchists in the same way that Archduke Ferdinand was assassinated, in the same way that you know, bombing Wall Street was, in the same way that I don't know, what we've seen for the past, like, you know, 5 years probably, with like let's say like the anti-fascist group like Antifa, that kind of thing. Like, those are authoritarian communists running around the streets. They're college kids calling themselves anarchists at a one time. You know, that's the thing. Like
that movie.
anarchism.
I didn't understand it.
Right.
I thought it was cool, man.
Well, it's about anarchism. I mean, it's about like people should be afraid, or government should be afraid of the people, not the other way around.
Well,
that kind of
isn't
thing.
that-
It's
Had the whole right to bear arms. I mean,
yes, but also
And
the
let's
same people who
face
call themselves anarchists today are like, take arms away from the people because the people should not be
Right.
trusted, and only government should have guns. But also the government is bad and they're
Right.
fascists, whatever.
but have you seen the
Right.
new
So
fucking-
in the same breath that say Trump is a fascist, I fucking
He's
hate
a
Trump.
populist.
Right.
He's not a fascist. He's a populist.
Hey, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter though. He's corrupt. He's a corrupt politician, just like they
Right.
all are. And
All
I
politicians
fucking hate
deserve
Trump, by the way. I wanna make
one
that very
thing.
clear.
Fucking
We
hate
all
Trump,
hate
dude.
Trump, by the way.
I know I look.
Like-
Everybody says I look like I love Trump because I got a fucking redneck hat. And I got a broken nose.
You kind of talk like a redneck too. Not to be
You do.
Because I
be honest, yeah.
I'm like Gundy, you know.
right. You sound like you grew up on a farm, but you moved to LA at some point. But you're out in the ocean surfing with people, and they're like, "This
Okay,
guy's a
you want to know
this
why I
guy's
talk
a
funny?
Trumper guy."
Because when I was 7,
Right.
when I was 7 years old, my mom she moved us to Virginia. I'm doing some sign. So my girlfriend.
Hold on, real quick. Your mom also named you River Rainbow. So
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait, that's your real name?
That's the fucking
Yeah,
mom of the
yeah,
Century Award.
yeah,
You know?
yeah.
Wow,
That's a
I
mom-
really thought that was just like, okay, so
Nope.
my name's really not Jay Flintlock and his name's really not Kato.
No,
I know
that's
that's
his
his,
actual name.
I know that's his Kurdish name.
Yeah.
What did you get a Kurdish name?
Yeah. My name is Tekosher, which
Tekosher.
means yeah, it means revolutionary lion, brave lion.
Wowza. That's a
Yeah.
pretty that's a
Like,
great endorsement, man.
Well, like shed. It's like shed is the word for lion, and it's also It's also alternatively the word for war. So it's like one of those languages that have like one word with multiple meanings. Also like English, I guess. Kind of. Are there any words in the English language that
Yeah,
mean two
but and but.
but that's right. They're spelled differently though.
There's fucking fuck.
Oh wait, share. The word share. I showed you the correct spelling for that, right?
You did, but
All right.
yeah, I got that.
Use that. Use that.
Yeah.
Again,
Yeah.
the only book I had was a grammar book, so I'm a Kurdish, I'm a Kurmanji Kurdish grammar Nazi right now.
I don't even have
So-
those keys on my keyboard, dude.
No, if you do it with your phone, if you hold down a certain key, like if you hold down the S key, you'll
Yeah,
find
then
those
they
keys.
all pop
You hold
up.
down the E, yeah.
Yeah, they all
And but like on the desktop, you'll find like programs you can download to like give you like those alternatives, that kind of thing.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
you'll
right.
basically want to download the Turkish keyboard because that'll have all the keys that you want, right? Because Kurmanji is basically the biggest group of Kurds in Turkey and Syria, which all speak like Turkish.
Turkish alphabet for the Syriac alphabet. So
Huh.
Turks actually can't read their own fucking language, dude. Yeah, like you know.
Well,
Like,
it's probably like
Yeah.
some weird governmental attempt to be internationalized.
yeah, it was. I think that
in,
happened
like,
like
English-
60 or 70.
English language because like that's the language of the internet, basically English, right? That's why so many people know English is because of the internet, because of
Yeah.
media, whatever, what have you. But,
Hollywood, bro.
Hollywood, I'd say the internet. I'd say the internet is what really did it in because
Oh, yeah.
in order to navigate the internet, you have to know English, like the entire internet, like the international.
Yeah,
internet.
because you're only gonna get a little teeny sliver. You're writing in
Right.
Chinese.
Of your country that like really makes things in your local language, that kind of thing. But
Well, that's
more
really.
about that later. But go on with what you're saying.
Oh, I was just saying that it's like it's amazing how like when you look at like the
No, it had no fucking
you cover
plan.
everything.
I want to talk to you and
like
advertise. I wanted to advertise you a bit.
Oh, I
but
love you, man.
I also wanted to talk about like keynotes on our end as like anarchists.
Yeah,
right?
no, and
Bottom-
actually,
That's what I'm talking about. The paradigm, the top being authoritarian, the bottom being libertarian, like freedom loving, like just like individualism is like the key to human prosperity for the future, right? Because any major tragedy in human history for the past thousands of years has been governmental authoritarian collectivization processes, which couldn't exist without these like these theoretical non-existent power hierarchies that are created out of thin air based off like public understanding of how the world works. So if we can change how people think about life in and of itself as just the human experience versus some preordained privileged process that you're allowed to partake in, like all of human history will change for the rest of our life, for the rest of humanity.
Yeah.
And
Right.
our point is to change that. Give you a little background. Do you know the term boogaloo, by the way? It's
do know the term boogaloo, but I don't know
Have
anything
you heard
about
the word boogaloo?
Oh, here we go.
Heard the
Feds are
word
already
boogaloo.
knocking on my door.
No, hold on, say that again, River.
I've heard the word boogaloo, but I don't know what it means.
So what do you think it means? Like
I think
if
a black person, like down the street, coming along, gonna take my fucking, come knock on my door and like come in the house or something. Like it sounds racist.
boogaloo sounds racist?
Yeah.
Oh boy. Okay. All right. So
Am I stupid or what? I'm stupid.
No, the Boogaloo is basically like a libertarian anarchist revolutionary movement that I partook in like 2 years ago. And like
Well, like I said,
I made a page
I'm
on
like a fucking
Facebook.
racist.
I made a page on Facebook. It had like 40,000 plus followers or
Oh
whatever.
my God.
And then it only became popular because a bunch of people went out in BLM protests over the last year
Yeah. Oh, that's
in Hawaiian shirts, plate carriers, and rifles, saying like we respect the right to protest. We're going to defend BLM protesters from cops, that kind of thing. It's like
Yeah.
anti-authoritarian, individualist, anarchist, libertarian type things.
So I was totally wrong.
But
Checking
obviously,
with
but if you type in Boogaloo right now into Google, you're gonna find a bunch of shit that's like they're like white supremacists and I don't know
They're
terrorists.
yeah.
And
That's
they-
all you're
terrorists-
gonna see is just
like whatever
alt-right
buzzword you
shit.
want to think of right now. Like that's how we were interpreted over that time. But that's been my vibe over the past couple of years, just so you know, because we haven't really talked that much in the past couple of years. Like
No, we haven't, dude. Like you went back home.
no, I just got lazy and bored, and now I work in cybersecurity from home. I don't know.
Well, I'm moving to Hawaii.
I stopped coexisting
I'm
with
moving
old
to
friends.
Hawaii
Like,
with my
that's about it.
girlfriend.
What?
You got here? There's my
Oh,
girlfriend.
she there? Oh, hello.
Hello.
Yeah,
Hi, I'm a good old friend.
she's deaf. She can't hear you.
Oh, boy.
Shit. Well, I feel like an asshole
boy.
now.
Wait. Show her the
Yeah,
camera.
wait. Okay. Let me show her one more time. She's this is my hero, dude. That's my hero.
Do you really know fucking sign?
Is that? Oh,
That's his name. That's his name.
M. You. Gotta make all the letters.
Yeah. Yes.
M-
Yes.
M-
Yes.
and A.
She was all happy. She's like she said she says he knows his name. Yeah. Yeah.
I
I
don't know
saw-
sign.
Growing up. And,
he doesn't know sign.
do you know? Do you at least know all the letters? Of the
Oh, me?
alphabet now?
Yeah. Well, so she's my
Spell out.
Okay,
Because like
M-
that,
is that I
No.
spell it right?
I gotta
I
cut
thought
out
you
all
said
of
no.
this.
This is why, like me and deaf culture, we're kind of having some problems because I can't spell.
Even today when I was with my parents, we had a steak dinner for Father's Day or whatever, and right,
Yeah.
double chin, like I'm full, like I had too much.
You can have a snack.
Spell up for please.
Hold on, she's showing. Here's a bunch of white nationalists.
Wait, what? Did she say white nationalist?
Oh, okay. So so this is the sign for asshole.
Oh, I know that sign. Yeah.
Yeah. Because she's not a big fan of white nationalists.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just thought I would introduce you because she
Okay,
can't.
hold on. Clarify that we're not white nationalists.
No.
because white nationalists are
I'll
Okay.
explain to her.
spell out you for her, but without this.
Okay, it's
Oh my gosh, I have to do so much editing to this.
W.
yeah. She said it was nice to meet you guys. Yeah.
Also say I love you.
Oh, hey, you left, dude. You can't say hey because they go. They don't
It's
look
waving.
back. It's waving. Hey, but she can't hear you,
I
right?
know.
She's been rad, man. She's really I've been going through hell here. That's my high school sweetheart. It's just wild how like life works out, man. It's
I'm happy. I'm happy for
Sometimes
you.
just-
I'm happy. And I'm glad you're working through dating a deaf person. And I'm glad you're learning sign language. American
yeah.
Sign
Well,
Language.
I learned it to date her in high school because she was definitely the hottest chick in my school.
That's right.
You know, that's how I knew I'd do good in the military, dude, because I
Good
have
for you.
motivation. I might not be good, but I'm motivated.
Hey, nice to see you ended up on top, my friend.
Hey, you know, we're at the bottom.
Hey, whatever the preference.
Bottom unity, man.
Sometimes it's not always good to be on top, bro. I'm
Yeah,
just saying.
yeah.
Well, yeah, you end up
Look at Kato's face right now, man. But don't worry, ladies. Kato is fucking set for you. Okay? Just know.
Well, hey
But-
man, I loved the documentary. I recommend it to everyone who listens to this. The Volunteers. It's on Amazon. It's on YouTube. It's on Vimeo. I think you said, and you
Yeah.
said you were writing a book as well, didn't you?
Yeah, I titled the book "Where Is Sheer?" So where is the brave lion?
Well, I'll
And I wrote a
I'll
chapter
talk about
about
it once
Matthew in it.
I'll talk about
You
once
did
you
a whole
release it.
chapter, dude. I wrote a whole fucking chapter about this.
I'll
guy.
talk about it once you release it. So the turkey
when
day.
we're in March of next year, right before March, we can come on. I'll tell you about it. I'll tell you where you can find it.
Okay.
We'll talk more about it.
Dope.
But there's a whole chapter that I wrote for Matt because, you know, it just he really moved me. You know, like just his bravery, his honor. You know, just what kind of person he is, who he's become when he's come home. You know, I'm really blessed to know him. You know, I'm blessed to know you, bro. And
I
like,
jack this guy off every day, man. Like, you're gonna inflate his head.
no, dude, no, listen, it's okay because it's already been shot once. You get shot again. Wait till you really get shot.
Oh man.
It's like the one eye shot
Sometime within the next few years.
sometime. But thank you guys for having me on. And
Oh yeah.
thank you for also sharing this information because like I didn't know a lot after this. Because
Definitely
Yeah,
talk to me
curious.
more about it because I want to educate you because there's a big movement going on in the United States, and thousands beyond like what you're probably seeing because
Yeah.
you know it's from indirect secondary sources, that kind of thing. But
Yeah.
I'm
There's a
all
big
about
movement
it.
going
You know,
on.
anything we can do that fits my moral code of how can I help my neighbor.
Yeah, man.
Anything I can do in that, I'm all about it. You know, and removing the toxicity out of our society would really just benefit
Yeah.
all of us.
We need more people like you on
Yeah.
our side, man.
So,
Hey, where can we find you? I think I found you and followed you on Twitter, but where can we find you?
you can find me on Instagram at TechoShare Americi, which is spelled TEKOSER_Americi AMERCI. Or you can find me on Facebook at River Rainbow O'Mahony Hag. And I promise there's not very many of me. Or you can just Google me and
Yeah.
you
he'll
can
come
find
up.
me there.
He'll come up.
I'll definitely come up.
Did I find the right guy on Twitter?
You found the right guy on Twitter. I don't
Okay,
use
all right.
Twitter a ton. It's just kind of like the back. But it's a good place to message me. Or if you have something you want to push, you know, I'm always willing to push on Twitter. But I also push on Instagram a lot and Facebook. So
I'll tag you on
Yeah.
Instagram and Twitter.
yeah, that would
I'm
be
not-
rad, dude. And I'll help share.
Yeah.
I'll help share this because I think it's important. You know what we talk about. People hear it. You know,
Kato and I are no longer allowed on Facebook.
that's okay because I don't know why they haven't kicked me off yet. Like I was literally in front of the Turkish consulate saying Turkish equals ISIS, and I got 100,000 views. And I'm thinking, what? My
That's
friend was
badass
like,
as fuck,
Oppo,
man.
And he was banned for 6 months. I'm like,
Hey, by the way, when I was in LA, I went up to LA for a protest with you.
you
And
did.
that's probably the last time I saw you because I went to your house afterward.
And I introduced you to my new friend.
Yeah.
And you know, actually, they've taken really good care of me all this time since then.
That's
It-
awesome.
There is hope with the system. There are good people in the system.
Well, but
You know,
the good people in the
'Cause
system,
they
like statistically,
system
never make
sucks.
it to the top.
Dude,
That's-
I was a good
No,
person
they
in the
don't.
system, and now I'm here.
right.
That's right. You're
And
going
a
to
little
the top.
background on Jay. Jay, you know, was National Guard for a very long time. He was an officer. He worked as a prison guard for a long time.
Yeah.
So he's very outspoken about the prison industrial complex. And
Yeah,
if you,
fuck yeah,
if
dude.
you okay, I'll send you more information on things that he's
Oh,
done.
cool, man.
but,
Thank you, Jay, because I'm all with you on that, on the prison industrial complex. It's a big problem, man.
Thanks,
So-
man. I
so
talk
good
about
for
as
you.
much as I can.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
was your guys'
None of us-
episode though, so I was gonna shut the hell up about prison.
Well, since we went to prison, now I know why you were like, tell me
Yeah,
about it.
I wanted to poke and prod a little bit, but you know what?
Yeah.
Hey,
It's
this is your
what it
guys'
is. It's the
thing.
military industrial
Muslims-
complex. It's
the
the prison
Muslim
industrial
culture takes-
complex, and the criminal justice system in the U.S. has been just as terribly corrupt and ineffective as the military industrial complex. That's about it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and but if you want a lot of really great insights, definitely follow Jay Moore. And
Yeah, I will. I'm gonna look
Jay
you
Moore.
on Instagram. What's your Instagram title, Jay?
I'll send it to you.
Because all your fans already know. I was trying to like give you.
He got kicked off of Instagram actually. He's fighting to come back on everything. He's only on Twitter now, but I'm Lever Action for Liberty on Instagram. I only can access it from an old phone because I got IP banned.
I need to send you one of my old phones.
Yeah, hey man, I'm working off of a cracked 10-year-old phone, man. So
All right.
any help gets, I can only access it with Wi-Fi, and it's poorly.
Listen, if you're listening to this, please send Jay a new old phone.
Yeah, all the old phones help, man.
Taking donations for old offloaded devices,
No.
but also me and cybersecurity is going to check all of them for feds and
That's
installers.
right. That's right.
It's spyware.
Actually, speaking
Yeah.
of donations, before we
Well,
end,
if you're getting one of my phones, there's definitely feds in it, dude, for sure. Dude.
oh, we
I want the
actually
feds to
we
know
actually
that I
talked
can
about that
detect
right before you
spyware
came on.
Or detected spyware, and you can go fuck yourselves.
Yeah.
How's that?
Hey, since we're on the topic of donations, I forgot. I can't believe I almost forgot. But right now I'm holding a raffle. For anyone who's listening who hasn't checked out the posts, it's for the Innocence Project. Donate at least $10. Donate as much as you want, but at least $10 to get on the raffle. I got a bunch of good prizes, including Michael Malice's new book, The Anarchist Handbook, Economics with One Lesson. I don't remember who writes that. There's an IFAC. There's 2 30-round magazines, and there's a patch donated by Gorilla Instructor. Anything else you guys want to add? Not to the donation in general.
Why don't you tell us a little more about the Innocence Project?
So the Innocence Project, they're a really great organization. I learned about them when I gave my speech to the Libertarian Convention in Missouri about prison corruption and my opinions on prison abolition. But they talked about how there is currently estimated 20,000 innocent people incarcerated as of 2020, and they're pushing retesting of DNA kits. They're pushing to reopen cases depending on faulty evidence. I mean, you guys who are listening don't need to hear from me anymore that the prison system is a fucking mess. It's a fucking joke, and it's terrible. So really, the Innocence Project is a great organization. It's not libertarian affiliated. So, don't get your panties in a bunch if they, post some status shit. But, they're a really great organization that's doing really good work for human liberty. So just push as much money as you can to them. If you find an extra 10, extra $20 in your pocket, and you don't need a cheeseburger that week, just throw it to them. Send me a screenshot of your donation. I'll put you in the running for the raffle. Lots of great prizes.
And right now, I'd like to clarify that one of the other raffle items are going to be a genuine ISIS flag.
Oh shit! You decided that you're going to actually throw it in?
Yeah, I have like 5, so might as well.
All right, man. Fuck yeah, dude! All right, I'm gonna be flooded with fucking information now. I'm gonna be flooded with fucking.
When I got back, I landed in Detroit, and Detroit DHS took like most of my ISIS stuff as seditious items, but they let me keep some of it, which means like they just wanted it.
Yeah, they
working that they wanted it.
Right
They
now,
gave me a form, and I filled it out like 5 times, submitted it, and then like called a bunch. I never got a response back, so they just like stole all my shit.
I had a big ass bottle of ketamine in my backpack they didn't find.
Well, that's
Bro,
obviously good.
what the
I'm saying like please take it for seditious items or whatever, like seditious, like terroristic kind of in its sense, but not necessarily defined as that, right? They just took it because I had like a lot of it. I had like newspapers and like personal handbooks and little like little Bibles, little
they're little Qurans.
Yeah, stuff like that. But they just like took a bunch of it. But still, they're like cool because I'm obviously not an ISIS fighter, and they realized that very quickly.
Yeah.
They just took it. So, but I got a few items left, and I'll give it away to someone who donates.
That's a cool raffle item, because that's something that you're definitely not going to be able to buy. That's something that you almost died for.
It's like a Nazi flag, but like they were less distributed, and a lot of them were like painted, like manually painted on. And I have a couple of those.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They're like ISIS fighters who are like just radicalized, and they're painting, the symbol onto a black piece of cloth. that
Yeah.
kind of thing. So,
Well, now
like,
I'm really fucking jealous because I mean I can't throw my name in my own raffle.
yeah,
I mean,
I've showed you-
fuck, like-
I showed you them, and if you ever like want them for anything,
I
Like,
can
I-
only wink and nudge so many times, dude. No, I'm I'm kidding. But this is a really hey man, thank you. I appreciate you throwing that item on the raffle. This is
No
gonna be
problem.
great for the Innocence Project.
I'll send you a picture and you can post it.
That's awesome, man. Well, I just want to thank you guys for letting me be on here and talking about the volunteers. When we gave the volunteers away, what happened is that we cut ourselves out of the marketing dollars, which means we cut ourselves out of the promotion. So people don't really know about the documentary, which I didn't really expect that.
Right.
I-
That's what I got too. I felt like it was like really underappreciated or under marketed,
Yeah, it was really undermarketed because they can't make money out of it because we're like, we want to give it away because our friends are dying in this. And it's not about making money. It's about letting you see what happens,
Right.
and it's that's the capitalism failure, right? Because there's this amazing documentary that it'll really let you
Well,
see.
I mean, do you still have the rights or the privilege to or the
No,
authority
when I-
market it to like other streaming services or like sell it to a cable provider? That
No,
kind of,
once we gave it away,
or not even sell it. Let's just say like give it away.
yeah, but we found a distribution company that was willing to give it away for us. So that's how we got it onto YouTube and Amazon Prime and stuff. But that's it.
No one else took it. Like
no one else took it because they can't make money off it. Xbox wanted to give us $100,000 for it, and I was like, "Fuck you, Xbox."
Oh
Well,
shit.
in the same way, like someone like Netflix would make money off something. It's just like it's another product to add to their lineup to get more subscribers. Like
Netflix wouldn't touch it.
like that's their
Look, Turkey. All I could say is Turkey. Netflix won't touch it.
Oh
All
wow.
right, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow. That's
Well, it's
Wow.
like Red Dawn changing their shit to North Korea because they want to market in China, that kind of thing. Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
same concept. And Turkey's
Yeah. So if you
I mean,
want to see a
compared to
documentary
people like
made
China
by
or
somebody,
the US or Canada or whatever, like they're a relatively small market, but it's still part of the market. So that makes sense.
yeah,
Well-
that's why I'm not talking about like who's publishing the
They're
book.
very obviously connected to the PKK, and like the US knows this 100%. They knew it a long time ago when they first started, that kind of thing. But there's like some subliminal connections, and they're not going to take the chance because the PKK is still listed as a terrorist organization for NATO and the US and everywhere else.
yeah.
Only because Turkey is a strategic asset against Russia. That's
I mean,
that's
we
the
need them.
only fucking reason.
We need them, because Russia is a big bad boogeyman. I mean,
That's
they're
right.
right on NATO's borders, even though we keep pushing NATO's borders closer and closer to them. But don't just
right.
ignore that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, just forget it. It's okay.
And we
Like
made
the
full
whole
circle.
the whole Cuban Missile Crisis was because we had nukes in Turkey that were close enough to reach Moscow, and we only agreed to get them out of Cuba and us out of Turkey because of that ordeal. But we still have,
60.
nuclear assets and a bunch of like tech and like all of like the US is just like all
No,
of,
there's 60 nukes in Turkey, at least.
something like that. I don't know.
Jesus
You're never
Christ.
gonna get a real answer from that, but for sure.
Yeah, well, like I know, right?
That's the
The
only
medic
like
knows.
leeway Turkey has in the Western world because like everyone despises them otherwise, but they're just like a strategic asset that like politically we can't give up. So
Well,
that's that tribal warfare government shit that needs to be fixed.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah.
Do good.
So-
Good will follow you.
I appreciate you coming on, River.
Yep.
We should talk more.
Yeah, we should talk more, dude.
We
I'm
should.
gonna call you.
We should.
I love talking to you, dude. So let's catch up in the next couple days. Jay, thank you so much for doing all this and just
dude,
putting
thank
yourself
you.
out there, bro.
Thank
Fuck
you
yeah.
for coming on, man. That was an awesome conversation. I mean, it was great.
I'll
Thanks,
send you a
guys.
link to the stuff. Do you have like a
Yeah,
Spotify?
I'll share it. I'll definitely share the link for sure, dude.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, guys.
Cool.
You have a great night.
Yeah,
All right, buddy.
victory.
Fight